Happy New Year and welcome to my first ever Flutter app. I decided to do a Flutter app coming from a mainly iOS and web development background because I'm looking to diversify. As an app developer with an app portfolio, I'm always looking to diversify my offerings. I don't want to be too dependent on Apple, so I decided to get into Flutter development a little bit. And I've started this project and I'm calling it Be the Bank. It's basically a finance app, so to speak. It's like a finance app for keeping track of the money that my kids owe me, how much money I've given them and stuff, because cash is kind of hard to work with. So the kids always want to buy virtual stuff. So I decided to come up with this app for keeping track of all the stuff that I've bought them, how much they owe me, how much I've given them. I've already said that, but I'm gonna make the app in Flutter. That's the point. And so far, I've gotten it started a little bit, and I have this beautiful yellow themed app here. I went with yellow for gold, but I'm just kind of like using the default Flutter aesthetics here, and it doesn't look so great coming from iOS. It kind of looks Android-ish, which isn't all that attractive, but nonetheless, I'm not going to really focus on aesthetics too much with this project. I just want something that works because I'm learning Flutter. And I basically have the scaffolding set up here. I have a currencies page and a people page, and I have the add button. You can create your own currencies with this app. To get started, I'm going to name my currency Brett Bucks. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So I also have the account page here. This is basically where I'm going to start the project, is with this very basic scaffolding here, currencies and people, and then the account button on the top left. When you press that, you're going to have the option to create an account or sign in. And this is kind of where I've hit my first roadblock, so to speak. And another thing I should mention is that I've decided to use Firebase for this app as the backend. It's also something I've never used. And having looked into Firebase, I discovered that they kind of want you to use their own stuff. They want you to use, this is hard to explain, but I'm trying to keep it as bare bones as possible. I just wanted a REST API to Firebase. I don't want to use their default authentication system. I want to stick to my own authentication using my own server, which is something I'm used to doing. That's sort of the first roadblock I've hit here. And what I need to do is, after making the account login form, I need to integrate it with my backend so that after a user logs in or creates an account, it's going to create a JWT token, which is what Firebase requires for authentication. My backend, where I'm going to hold my users and stuff, is PHP. So that's the first step. Well, actually, the very first step is making the login and registration form right here before you on the account page. So that's what I'm going to do first. And I'm going to integrate it with my backend so that it actually creates accounts on my backend and allows logging in. So that's what I'm going to do first. And I'm back. It's been a couple of hours, and I've been working on putting together that sign in and register page that I was talking about earlier. So I got it put together. I got the front end working. Haven't started on the back end yet. So here it is. It's just an email address and password. And if you haven't registered yet, you can hit register here, and then it switches to this state with a confirm password. I do this for a lot of my apps. It's very simple. It's just like some basic state changes. I mean, a couple of observations. I have some good and bad observations about Flutter so far. Flutter with Dart, that is. I mean, I love the out-of-the-box formatting in VS Code. The code formatting is really good. You don't have to wrestle with the IDE very much. It just kind of formats stuff for you automatically in a lot of ways. Like if you just hit Control or Command S when you save, not only does it hot deploy or hot reload, which always works, by the way, it automatically formats your code, which is very nice. And in Xcode, you have to wrestle with the code a lot more and do more formatting of the code manually. The IDE doesn't do it for you as much. And some of the bad stuff I've noticed is that Flutter is very I mean, not Flutter, but Dart is very verbose. It's a lot like Java in its verbosity. I'm not very happy with the verbosity of it. Some of the nice features of Swift UI, I don't know if I've mentioned, but I've done a lot of Swift UI development, and a lot of the Swift UI features are not really available in Dart because I think the generics capabilities aren't as powerful. And for me, Swift UI, like, one of its benefits is it does a lot of powerful syntax sugar stuff, and it does so using generics, but that's also kind of a hindrance because generics are, for me personally, are hard to understand. And it's really easy to get into the weeds with generics if you get past the basic stuff. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword kind of thing. But anyway, I got my account thing working. The next step is to actually integrate this with my backend, and I'll be back when that's done. It is now 5 o'clock and I am done for the day. There's my baby boy, and I gotta go get my other son from middle school, but I did manage to get this working. It is now working with my backend. Let me show you. So you can actually create an account now and you can sign in. I'm not gonna show you account creation, but I will show you signing in. Boom. See, it actually works. And there's actually a little, they call it snack bar on Android. On iOS, we call it a thing that pops up. So it's working now. It's integrated with my backend. One part that I kind of got hung up on was saving the password or the authentication token in the keychain. I had to download a package for that, and it wasn't like really straightforward on how to get that working. I had to go into the Xcode project and enable a keychain sharing. That's what it is. Yeah. And so that it's working now. So I can store the authentication token securely onto the device. Tomorrow I will start diving into Firestore and generating the JWT token for authenticating with Firestore. And so far, it's not like super easy, but it's going okay with this Flutter thing.